I voted for Cuomo for governor, but he done lost his mind. I got a vent. Outdoor dining right now, but you can't go inside to use the bathroom. No bathroom. You gotta bring one of these to dinner. You gotta be wearing that for dinner. I've already seen so many restaurants shut down that I have fond memories of. It's truly heartbreaking in 2020 how many beautiful lives we've lost to this COVID killer. This pandemic is really f***ing scary. How can this happen in the world? The best thing about 2020 is the heroism of the COVID-19 frontline workers. Not only working crazy hours, being exposed to a deadly virus on a daily basis, sometimes without even proper protection, and seeing death after death, feeling hopeless day in and day out. We're stuck inside trying to entertain ourselves while they're overworked and looking at body bags. And now, our frontline workers are first in line to get the vaccine that so many people are worried about taking. They deserve the Nobel Peace Prize, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the Purple Heart, an Academy Award, a Grammy, and a James Beard Award. They deserve it all. On New Year's Eve, before I had kids, you could catch me at the club, or you could catch me at work. Since we've had kids, my wife usually takes me out to a nice restaurant or a fancy cocktail bar, or we make something with luxury ingredients at home. Either way, we're at home well before midnight watching the ball drop on TV. So, babe, this was what I was gonna wear on our date. We had a babysitter, but everything's shut down. It's not worth going out. We already spent Thanksgiving and Christmas alone with just us. Happy New Year. We're staying home. Hey. When I think of New Year's, I think of luxury ingredients. I think of French champagne, sturgeon caviar. For this episode, I would love to prepare a whole tasting menu for New Year's Eve. I'm definitely gonna do that next year, but I have a lot of videos of really cool recipes I made with sturgeon caviar when I was just first starting out on YouTube. I'm gonna put them all together in this tasting menu for you for New Year's Eve. We got 5 courses on this, no dessert. I would pair every one of these courses with some French champagne, since you're using sturgeon caviar, which isn't just regular fish roe. It's roe specifically from a sturgeon, specifically French champagne, from Champagne or Reims, France. So let's get started. Couple old videos, gonna mash them up into a little caviar montage for you. When you do make your New Year's resolutions, just remember, life's too short to be too strict on any sort of diet, so make sure you treat yourself sometimes and have some amazing food. Cheers and drinks. The first dish on this menu is an amuse bouche. It is a potato cake with sturgeon caviar. I took russet potatoes, peeled them, boiled half of them in salted water, grated the other half, mixed it together with some herbs, butter, made little tiny pancakes, and seared them in a lot of butter. I let them cool to room temperature, sturgeon caviar on top, little creme fraiche, goes right into an amuse bouche spoon. So people come in, they grab their champagne, they grab their spoon, they get a nice little taste of sturgeon caviar and a buttery, buttery potato cake. Fat kid snack. So course 2 is kind of one of those love it or hate it dishes. This is a dish I had at Jean-Georges, and I actually really liked it, but some people think it's really, really stupid. I understand that the presentation and plating is like a little bit weird to eat it, but I found it interesting and I thought it was delicious and simple, so I certainly liked it. And so I just kind of did my own version of that. So I did a soft scrambled egg with some chives, a little bit of salt. I used the little metal tool that cracks the round circle on top of the egg, and then you got to go through with a knife, a paring knife, and carefully cut the top of the shell off. I removed the egg, Then I boiled the shell just to get it nice and clean because we're going to use it as the vessel for this dish. I like using things and not putting them to waste. So some people think it's stupid to eat this out of an egg, but I think it's great because you're not throwing away the eggshell. You're using it in another way. When you're doing the soft scrambled egg, you got your butter in the pan. You don't want it totally melted yet. You add the egg. You keep them moving constantly, and then before they're totally set, you stop, move them off the heat, and then I put it in a piping bag, piped it into the egg, and then I added some whipped cream, which has no sugar. It's just purely cream that's whipped, and then I put caviar in the very top. When you're working with caviar, I mean, you're gonna be simple because caviar is basically the star of the dish, so I think this is a great canvas for a dish. Yeah, you have to like use a spoon. It's like, you know, when you eat crab legs. Yes, you have to get the meat out of the shell. I like it. A lot of people think it's stupid. So next dish is my favorite dish on the menu. This is something I actually had at Le Bernardin. This dish is so good because I am such a fat kid at heart. So I love like caviar, steak tartare, and basically chips. That to me is delicious, and like a cream sauce. What can I say? I'm American. I really like rich, fattening stuff. So the steak tartare, I used tenderloin, mixed some cornichons in there, a little bit of chives, a little bit of dill. And a tiny bit of salt, a little bit of mustard. Didn't want to go overboard on the steak tartare, just wanted to keep it like simple because we're gonna have the caviar on top. And I served that with some creme fraiche that was mixed with some black pepper and some champagne vinegar with some really delicious, what we would call in America, waffle chips. But in French, they're called pommes gaufrettes. I realize it's a cold dish and the other dishes are warm before it, but like I said, I'm putting all these videos together and I felt like this dish was a lot more hearty and rich, so I had to put it after the first two previous dishes. So that's why it's smack dab in the middle. Hump day. Dish is it's like everybody else's favorite, a pasta dish. This pasta dish is very, very simple. It's just tagliolini in just a very light lemon bermonte. It's not quite a spaghetti because it's not an extruded pasta. It does come from sheet pasta, but they're very similar size-wise. Made the pasta, boiled it in some salted water until al dente, and then I tossed it in a light lemon bermonte, just basically lemon juice and bermonte, and that's it. And then obviously the caviar goes on top. With all these dishes, the one commonality is that it's very simple preparations, because when you're working with a luxury ingredient, you really don't want to overpower it. It's strong on its own. When you're working with white winter truffles or foie gras, same thing with caviar, the other ingredients are there in the background. They're there as a canvas. Nothing is more simple than pasta and lemon vermonte. Everybody loves it. It's pasta. It's a crowd pleaser. Final dish is seared scallops with caviar. Seared scallops are so good on their own. They're very mild and, very flavorful, but not too overpowering. They work perfectly as a canvas for caviar and truffles and whatever else. The components of this dish: cauliflower soup. I cooked down some cauliflower, mixed it with some sauteed leeks, added some cream, some salt, some butter, blended that up till it was super silky smooth. On top of that, seared scallops. The outside is opaque and the inside is still a little bit translucent. That lends the best texture. Those go on the soup, garnished with a little bit of chives, and then some quenelles of sturgeon caviar on top. Nice hearty dish at the end of this menu. Bye-bye 2020. Cheers to 2021. Wishing you happiness and health in 2021. Wishing myself a COVID vaccine shot. Don't be a stranger now. I want to see you again next year. Considering the fact that you're going to have to bring a diaper out if you go out in New York City because you won't be able to use a bathroom anywhere, I think most people are staying home this year, even outside of